2, 3, and la 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 la. What else could I be? All apologies. What else can I say? Marvel's going gay. What gives you the right? Oh yeah, you've got the copyright. But I can just be me. No apologies. What's up? There he goes, culturally appropriating that white music again. Black-facing white music, caught out there, guilty. What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, the whole world is abuzz about Marvel releasing the next phase of their so-called movies and everything like that. Everybody's talking about it. And you know, the funny thing is that I'm a big Fantastic Four fan, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing the definitive Fantastic Four put on screen and all that stuff. So I'm kind of like mildly excited about like what the possibilities might be there, and I'm thinking about who my dream cast might be. Now bear with me, guys, because this is kind of stupid, but you know, and this isn't even the topic of the video, but I had it on my mind, right? So I'm thinking Anson Mount as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, right? Anson Mount, you know, most recently seen in STD. And let me see, Emily Blunt as Susan Storm / Richards, the Invisible Girl / woman. All right, Emily Blunt. Let me see, Ben Grimm. He's kind of old, but I'm thinking Michael Cutlass, most recently from The Kids Are Alright. Of course, Abraham from The Walking Dead. I would like to see him as Ben Grimm / The Thing. And Johnny Storm. Let me see, who would I cast as a Human Torch? Michael B. Jordan. Fuck out of here. No. All due respect to Michael B. Jordan, no. Okay, I'm thinking, and only because my son watches this show all the time and he's the only like blonde-haired kid I can think of, I'm thinking Henry Danger from what is it? Henry Danger, right? That's the name of the show. But yeah, Jace Norman, why not? You know, a young Johnny Storm. Is that too young? I don't know. But he could bulk up. I think he could do it, man. And I know he's probably looking to get off of Nickelodeon. This could be it. Jace Norman, check it out. Look into it. All right, get your agent on the job. But anyway, guys, getting back to the topic, everyone's been talking about the next phase of Marvel films, and I'm sorry. It's like the more I see of it, the more I'm thinking that I am through. I am through with Marvel, and this is coming from a person who's been a Marvel head like for my whole life. You know what I mean? It's a tragic turn of events, but you know, for example, you know, the whole Lady Thor, Love and Thunder thing. I mean, Love and Thunder, it sounds like a freaking reality show, like Love and Hip Hop. You know what I mean? Love and Thunder. Like, what is she gonna be doing? Like throwing drinks in bitches' faces and stuff like that and fighting? Like, I know she's gonna be fighting, but I just don't see it, you know. And then they're talking about how Valkyrie has got to be bisexual, and I don't take my son to see this in a Marvel film, you know what I mean? You know, it's funny because these people, they just don't seem to understand that Marvel has always appealed to young men. You know, that's not me being sexist, that's just the truth. Marvel, the comics, have always been a young man's game, you know what I mean? And young men, what do we want to see? We want to see fantasy, we want to see fighting, we want to see heroism, we want to see hot-looking women in hot-looking costumes, and I can understand if that's what they were going to do, but that's not what they're going to do, because somebody is afraid, really afraid of a woman's sexuality. So, and I always thought that it was interesting, right? Because when you go and you watch the, like, you go to like the, you know, the conventions, and you see like the cosplayers, you know, God bless their hearts, the cosplayers are so hot, man. And they're not afraid. They're not afraid to be playful. They're not afraid to be sexy and hot, you know what I mean? But then when you get to the big screen, I don't want to show my boobs. I don't want to show my cleavage. I don't want to show my legs. I don't want to show my ass. I don't want to show my face. I don't want to show anything, you know what I mean? And it's just like, what are you afraid of? You know, a woman is a powerful being. You know, a woman is a beautiful being. You know, life comes from a woman. All of us, we wouldn't be here if not for women, you know what I mean? If not for the relationship between men and women, which is why it's not quite the same to say, oh, you guys promote heterosexual love, but you don't want to promote homosexual love or bisexual love or quasimodo-sexual love, you know what I mean? It's not the same. It's like heterosexual love is the default setting of humanity, all right? It's the way that we live. It's the way that we go forward, you know? So for kids, it's like there's nothing wrong with hinting at that. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to have sex scenes in a Marvel movie or a kids movie or a movie that you know the kids are going to be watching. I'm just saying that, you know, it's not quite the same to so-called promote heterosexual love versus homosexual love. One I see more as a lifestyle. Now, if you want to have a movie that's rated R or NC-17, that might be different. But if you know that your movie is opening up to general audiences and, you know, it's got like a, you know, it's got mass appeal for children and stuff like that, then I would say keep the alternative lifestyle shit to a, like a very, very minimum, you know? But because Marvel is more like interested in raping this property and raping these rich characters in order to hoist themselves up and virtue signal and show the world just how progressive and hip they are, everything is falling to the wayside as far as plot. Like all of the news that you heard, you know, regarding the next phase of Marvel films, I've heard nothing that interests me as far as plot's concerned. All I keep hearing about is sexuality and who's going to be hooking up with who. That's not what I used to read comics for. That's not what I got my son into this for. And I can tell you, most kids they don't want to see this. You know what I mean? I know plenty of gay people who don't want to see this. This is exploitation. And yes, I would be saying the same thing if it were black people, because for the longest time, I felt like black people were being exploited, you know, in a lot of those movies that came out, probably in the, I don't know, the late 80s, maybe early 90s and shit like that. You know what I mean? There was a degree of exploitation going on. And if you're not going to represent people in an honest way, in a way that is sympathetic, you know, and true, then it is exploitation. And this is what I feel, because in the source material that is Marvel Comics, it was never about exploring sexuality. Now you could say that it was about exploring relationships, the relationships between people, like, you know, getting back to the Fantastic Four or the X-Men, the dynamic between team members, you know, those relationships were always very interesting to watch, how they would learn how to work together despite their differences and stuff like that. But as far as attraction, you know, as far as sex and sexuality and stuff, maybe in the later comics, the more mature comics, of course you can find that, you know, like in the graphic novels and all that stuff. That's nothing new, you know, that's always been in there. So like I said, if that translates to the screen, of course you can give it the appropriate rating. But as far as general audiences and movies and stuff like that, kids don't need to see it. They don't. And I've taken my son, you know, to go see plenty of movies with his friends, and like an evil scientist, sometimes I'm watching them more than I'm watching the movie, you know what I mean? So I'm like, look at the way they react to certain stimuli. Look at how when they see affection openly being displayed up on the screen, they cover their eyes or they get fidgety. They don't want to see it, even if it's heterosexual. If it's too much, they don't want to see it. You know, now you're talking about preteens and stuff like that. They're just now starting to get comfortable with their sexuality. Actually, no, they're not even getting comfortable with it. They're in that awkward stage, that very, very awkward stage. You know what I mean? So, for example, how many people out there have heard of a cartoon on, I think it's Teen Nick, called The Loud House? All right, The Loud House. My son went through a stretch where he loved The Loud House, and he used to watch it in the loud house, in the loud house. Rash, rash, push and shove, it's how we show our love in the loud house, right? So he's watching the Loud House, and go figure, there are two characters in there who are gay, right? And actually one kid, I think the main kid, Lincoln's best friend, Clyde, has got two fathers. They're gay, all right? And you know, he kind of like rolled with that a little bit. But then two of the girls, Lincoln's sister and I guess it's her best friend, like there's been this this heavy hinting that they are gay. You know, they flirt with each other and stuff. And my son, it was just too much. It was kind of like overload, you know. And he's just like, Dad, I don't want to watch The Loud House anymore. You know, he's like, it's just weird to me and everything. Now he's not reached that age where he's comfortable with these types of themes. You know what I mean? That's not saying that he's intolerant or anything. It's just that he's at a very critical point in his development. And his father, meaning me, his father is raising him to be a husband, a father. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm actually raising him to be. I'm raising him to be a father to a good woman, you know, to give me some grandchildren, if that be his wish. And that's kind of what he looks forward to. You know what I mean? He's shown me no indication of anything otherwise. So he is a little bit uncomfortable with that, you know, on his particular, development curve. You know, so I don't see how I can go into a movie theater and sit down with my son and watch up on the big screen two women flirting with each other or kissing or making out, or two men, you know, for that matter. I don't see why that would be necessary for a child, you know, who's 8, 9, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old. You know, I just don't understand what that push is about, you know, especially when they're not emphasizing story. They're just, like I said before, they're raping these characters to push their own agenda, and that's just wrong. That's not what these characters were built for. It's not what it's been made for. But you see this all over. Like, I could understand if it was just Lady Thor or Valkyrie, you know, or even Captain Marvel. But these days it's everywhere, you know, and that's the problem. It's disproportionate to the population in which we live in this particular country that I'm broadcasting from, which is America. It's like the percentage of gay, lesbian, biracial, trans is so small, you know, in comparison to like the heterosexual population of America that we know about. Granted, I'm sure there are some people who are in the closet, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So it doesn't ring true, you know. And I would say the same thing about, like I said, once again, black people. We're a certain percentage in this country of this population, so why would you expect that pop culture would just be saturated with black people? You know, it's like everything should be proportionate. You know, it works that way, you know, as long as everything is positive and it's honest, you know, like I said. But yeah, guys, I mean, I don't want to go long here, and I think I am, but, you know, these are just some of the reasons why I just can't go forward, you know, with Marvel. And believe me, I say this with a heavy heart, you know, being somebody who has, you know, depended on Marvel and my comics. They got me through some tough times in my life. I have thousands of comics, man, you know. When I felt like nobody understood me, I could find something to relate to in the pages of Spider-Man, you know, in the Fantastic Four, in the X-Men, you know, the Thing used to break my heart, you know, because growing up, you know, I was bigger and taller than the other kids and stuff like that, so I almost felt like a thing. People almost treated me like a thing, you know, and you know, so, and here he was with such a pure heart, you know, and a heart of gold and stuff. I always thought I had good intentions. I don't know, you know, sometimes I didn't, but most of the times I tried. You know, but yeah, so like I said, I used to hang on to my comics, and to see the direction that it's gone in now, I think I understand what the whole comics gate is all about. I think I understand what those brothers are standing for, because if it's like this now, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the future. You know, it's just such a tough time to be a kid growing up. It's a tough time to be a boy when you're looking for images of manhood that are actually celebrated and not labeled as toxic. And it's hard for girls who are looking for positive male ideals and role models, and, you know, to look to, you know, be a potential mate in the future. You know, girls have that right too. You know, young girls have the right to look for a man, you know, and to look for the qualities of a man, somebody who's not going to be apologizing for being a man. You know, so this is a betrayal. This is a betrayal to our children, and I don't feel like Marvel should be rewarded for this. You know, now, you say, oh, it's not such a big deal, Mark. Why would you be saying this and everything? Well, what else could I say, all right, when Marvel's going gay? What else can I say when they don't come up with a plot? When they don't come up with anything other than celebrate this because it's going to be more LGBTQ+. You know, and that's all they're telling us. They're not telling us anything else. So what is there to look forward to? I would say nothing. But, you know, it's hard to see the future, man. But we're just being bombarded with all this stuff. And, You know, I just wanted to weigh in on it and give my opinion on it. Of course, I welcome your opinion. So you guys go on and get in the comment section and let me know what you think of all of this. You know, the next phase of Marvel films, does this excite you? Does it make you horny? Does it make you excited? Does it make you randy, baby? You know, let me know. And you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. When you subscribe, hit the notification bell. That sure would be dandy. And I want to thank everyone who does subscribe. I thank you all very much for your views and for participating and putting up with my silly ass. And of course, you can catch me on Twitter. I will be there. All right, guys, that's it for now. I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on. All in all is all we are. All in all.